Welcome to Retail Management Hero. RMH is a complete point-of-sale solution that makes it easy for retailers to manage their floor sales and back-office functions. In this video, I will demonstrate how to use filters to control what information displays in reports, how to customize the layout of reports, and how to save, export, and print reports. Reports are available in both Store Manager and Central Manager. Reports work the same way in both apps. So, while I will demonstrate reports in Store Manager, everything you learn in this video was applicable to reports in Central Manager as well. You can access all reports under the Reports menu and Active Reports. The reports in the Standard folder are based on reports used in Microsoft Dynamics Retail Management System, also known as RMS. The reports in the Custom folder are reports that have been developed by RMH and RMH partners. The reports in the Physical Inventory Count folder are, as the name suggests, only used in the Physical Inventory Count workflow. I will not demonstrate these reports in this video. The reports in the Custom folder are sometimes, but not always, customizations of reports in the Standard folder. For example, in the Standard folder, you will find the Customer List report. In the Custom folder, you will find the Customer List Detail and Customer List with Email Address reports. To generate a report, click the report name. The filter dialog will display. The filter dialog contains options that you can use to control what data is included or excluded from the report. You do not have to use filters in a report. You can simply choose to include all applicable data in the report. However, this is not advisable for two reasons. 1. Pulling large amounts of data into a report ties up system resources. And 2. Large reports are often more difficult to analyze. The best practice is to use filters to control what kind of data to include in the report and how much data to include in the report. Some reports have predefined filters. For example, sales reports usually have a predefined filter based on the date or date sold fields, because retailers typically track and analyze sales for specific dates, or for date ranges, like weeks, months, or years. For example, the department sales report has a predefined filter based on the date field. It is configured to include all sales for the selected date range. The default range is this month, but you can change it to today, yesterday, this week, last week, and so on. The date range is dynamic and is based on the date the report is generated. If you want to include sales for specific dates, such as the dates for a weekend promotion, click Range and select Custom. Select the start date and end date values and click Change. You can keep a report's predefined filters, or you can replace them with your own filters. Click Remove or Remove All to delete the predefined filters, then define your own filter. An important thing you should understand about filters is that they are based on the fields that are included in the report. Reports only include the fields that are applicable to the report. For example, the Customer List report only includes fields that are used to collect customer data. While the Detailed Sales report only includes fields that are used to collect sales data. Another important thing you should understand about filters is that the operator options change based on the field that you select. If you select the department field, the operator options are equals, does not equal, and like. The value must be one of the departments set up in Store Manager. If you select the quantity sold field, the operator options are equals, does not equal, greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, and between. The value must be a number. If you select the web item field, the operator defaults to equals. The value must be either yes or no. The operators are standard SQL operators because all RMH app data is stored in a SQL database. Another important thing you should understand about filters is that you can configure more than one filter for a report. As you can see with this report, there are two predefined filters, one for the date sold field and one for the cashier inactive field. As you add additional filters, you must select either the AND or operator. If you select AND, records will only be included in the report if both filters are true. If you select OR, records will be included in the report if one or both filters are true. The AND operator was used for the second filter in this report, which means that records will only be included in the report if the item was sold during the selected date range and if the cashier is active. The final thing you should know about filters is how to use the negate option. Think of this like a not operator. For example, maybe you want a detailed sales report on book sales for last year, but you don't want to include magazine sales in the report. You change the date sold filter to last year. Then you add a filter for the department field and select books. Finally, you add a filter for the category field, select magazines, and select negate. This will exclude magazine sales from the report. Alright, that's enough about filters. Let's look at a report. The detailed sales report is extremely useful for retailers. By default, it shows which items have sold, how many of each item have sold, the price the item was sold at, and total sales. It also shows which categories the items belong to. Those are the default columns for the report. You can show additional columns in the report, such as price, on hand, profit, and so on. Or you can hide columns in the report, such as item lookup code or quantity sold. How do you do this? It's easy. Just click the Layout button in the ribbon. In the visible column, select the columns that you want to show in the report, and clear any columns that you want to hide. Clicking the Layout button is a great way to find out what data is included in a report. If you are unsure which report to use, click the Layout button. If you don't see the column that you want to show in the report, you will need to use a different report. Before we move on, I will point out one limit in the detailed sales report. It does not include sales of voucher items, such as gift cards or gift certificates. These items are technically not considered a sale, so by design they are not included in the report. Once you have decided which columns to show or hide in the report, you can click and drag them into the order you prefer. You can also resize the columns so they fit better on screen. For example, the department and category columns are too wide. To make them smaller, just click the right side of each column header and drag to the left. You can also resize the columns automatically. Just click Settings, and from the Auto Fit drop-down, select Resize All Columns. Notice how the column widths adjusted automatically. There is another Auto Fit option called Extend Last Column. When this option is selected, the last column on the right will automatically expand to fill the screen when you manually resize the other columns in the report. However, if the column is too wide, this can make it difficult to read the data in that column. You may want to select the None or Resize All Columns options instead. The last thing I want to show you about columns is how to group columns. You may want to group columns to save space or to make report data easier to analyze. For example, in a busy store, there will be a lot of records in the detailed sales report, which will make the report quite long. You can tighten up the report by grouping records by department. To do this, click Settings, select Group By, and click OK. A gray bar displays above the report with the instructions. Drag a column header here to group by that column. Click on the department column header and drag it into the gray bar. The records are automatically grouped by department. You can group by more than one column. For example, if I drag the category column header up onto the gray bar, The records are now grouped by both department and category. You can also ungroup columns. Just click the column header in the gray bar and drag it back into the report. The report is now set up the way I want. However, if I close the report at this point, my customizations will be forgotten. If I want to keep my customizations, I have to save them. There are two options for saving report customizations. The first option is to memorize only the columns you selected from Layout, as well as any settings that you selected, such as AutoFit. However, the first option does not save filter customizations or column groupings. The second option is to save all customizations, including filter customizations and column groupings. To do this, click the large Memorize button to the left. You'll be prompted to save the report. The default location for memorized reports is C Program Files x86, Retail Hero, and, depending on which app you are using, either the RMH Store Manager or RMH Central Manager folder, then Active Reports and Memorized. It is essential that you save memorized reports with the different file names. If you do not change the file names, your memorized reports will be overwritten when the RMH apps are updated, and you will lose your customizations. Memorized reports that have been saved with different file names will not be impacted when the RMH apps are updated. When saving a memorized report, you do not need to include the file type. RMH will add the file type automatically. Memorized reports are added to the Reports menu under Active Reports and Memorized. As you can see, when I open the memorized report, it remembers all of the customizations, including the column groupings. You can also export reports to either Microsoft Excel or Adobe PDF. For example, you might export a report to Excel so you can work with the data. You might export to PDF so you can save the report to a shared network folder or email it to a colleague. You can also print a report. By default, the columns are resized so the report fits the page. You can, however, change the page orientation, paper size, and margins to make the report easier to read. You may also want to hide some columns to make the report easier to read when printed. And that's it. You now know how to generate, customize, export, and print reports. Thank you for watching this video demonstration. You can find more videos at training.rmhpos.com.